Welcome, dear friends, to a journey into the elegance and refinement of the Regency era, a time of romance, social grace, and exquisite fashion. When we think of this period, we imagine lavish balls, afternoon promenades and, of course, the iconic gowns that defined an age. But what made Regency fashion so unique? How did it reflect the values and society of the early 19th century? Today, we will step into the world of empire waistlines, delicate fabrics, and intricate embroidery. From the simplicity of day dresses to the opulence of evening gowns, we will uncover the secrets of Regency style. Through expert insights, historical references, and breathtaking recreations, we will explore how these dresses were made, who wore them, and how they symbolized status, femininity, and even political change. How did Jane Austen's heroines dress? What role did fashion play in courtship and social class? Join us as we unravel the beauty and history of Regency era dresses, where every stitch tells a story of an era that continues to captivate us today. This is Time Stream, and our journey into fashion history begins now.
The Regency era in England, which spanned roughly from 1795 to 1837, was a period marked by significant cultural, political, and social change. It is especially known for its distinctive fashion, particularly the elegant and graceful dresses worn by women. Regency fashion was a dramatic shift from the elaborate and heavy gowns of the 18th century, embracing a lighter, more natural style inspired by classical antiquity. Regency era dresses were heavily influenced by the neoclassical movement, which drew inspiration from the art and fashion of ancient Greece and Rome. This influence was reflected in the high waistlines, just under the bust, known as the empire waist. The silhouette of the dress became more columnar and fluid, allowing the fabric to fall naturally over the body, creating a soft, feminine shape. Materials also changed. Unlike the stiff brocades and silks of earlier periods, Regency dresses were made from lighter fabrics such as muslin, cotton, and fine silk. These materials added to the sense of airiness and elegance. White was a popular color, especially for evening wear and formal occasions, symbolizing purity and simplicity. Day dresses were usually modest with long sleeves and higher necklines, appropriate for social visits and household duties. Evening gowns, on the other hand, were more elaborate, with lower necklines and short sleeves, often trimmed with lace, ribbons, or embroidery. Shawls, gloves, and bonnets were essential accessories, both for fashion and for modesty. Since the dresses were made from such light fabrics, women often layered them with outer garments such as pelisses, a type of coat, and spencers, a short jacket, for warmth when outdoors. Fashion during the Regency era was also closely tied to social class. Wealthier women could afford dresses made from imported fabrics and adorned with detailed embellishments, while working-class women wore simpler versions made from more durable materials. Despite these differences, the overall silhouette and style remained widely consistent across classes. Hairstyles and accessories also played an important role in completing the Regency look. Women often wore their hair in soft curls or updos inspired by Roman statues. Decorative combs, feathers, and ribbons were used to add flair. Jewelry was delicate, often featuring cameos, pearls, or classical motifs. Fashion was influenced by several factors, including the Napoleonic Wars, trade with other countries, and the rise of fashion magazines. Publications like La Belle Assembly and Ackermann's Repository featured hand-colored illustrations of the latest styles, helping to spread trends throughout England. The Regency style laid the foundation for later 19th century fashions, though the silhouette would change significantly in the Victorian era. Today, Regency fashion remains popular through historical dramas, literature, especially the novels of Jane Austen, and costume reenactments. Regency era dresses in England reflected a unique blend of elegance, simplicity, and classical influence. They marked a turning point in women's fashion, embracing natural beauty and refined style, and continue to captivate modern audiences with their timeless charm.
show you the paper piecing on the end. It's just another version of that. Okay, so hi, I'm Becky. I'm actually a fabric, applique quilting designer. I'm called Willow and Hair Stitching. I've come along today because I'm absolutely huge Jane Austen fan. She got me into quilting and paper piecing, having seen her quilt here at the house. I regularly come along, hence I saw the advert today for the sewing circle. So I'll come along with my friend today to join, and hopefully we'll come back again because I think there's going to be more. So my background is in cross stitching, but I also have done a lot of freehand embroidery over time. I discovered applique and patchwork about 15 years ago, and I tried to start fusing all of those elements together. So I design my own quilts and some other pieces. I've got a little one here. It's that kind of thing that I do. So it's putting applique onto things, doing embroidery, and then the English paper piecing, which is what Jane Austen used in her quilt. She didn't use hexagons, she used diamonds, but it's the same technique. So at the moment what I'm doing is just some really, really tiny ones. I'm designing a little pin cushion at the moment, and these are just going to be appliqued onto it. So they're absolutely minuscule little hexagons. And these ones are made of fabric, but traditionally they're made of paper. So I'll just show you one that I'm doing. So basically what I'm trying to do as well is what we call fussy cutting. So I want a particular piece of this fabric to be used. So I've selected this tiny little flower in the centre here. So I'm going to use that in the centre of this hexagon. So obviously years ago they wouldn't have had things like glue sticks. I don't use it when I'm using paper piecing for bigger things, but these are so tiny. I'm just going to use a dab of this on the back of this fabric to stick it down, okay? And then traditionally with the paper piecing then you would just cut a little bit away around the shape that you're using. Hexagons are a very traditional shape in paper piecing, but you can do all sorts of shapes. And it's a way of joining bits of fabric together to make a bigger piece, or just to decorate. So I'm just cutting roughly around the circle here. I can try and show you how they would have done it by hand, but they're so tiny, it might not work very well. I'm just going to lost my needle now. Oh, I know it is. It's here. There we go. So I will grab my thread. So this thread is it's an oriflamme thread. It's very, very thin and it's very, very silky. So the nice thing is when you're doing things like paper piecing, it doesn't catch in the cotton fabric that you're using. It just glides through because you need to do tiny stitches. I'll just thread my needle. Tie a tiny knot in the end just to secure it. What we do is you come up, fold one side of the fabric over the shape to start with, and you just anchor it with your thread. Okay. Oops. And then what you do is you hold that first side over the shape, and you move along to the second side and fold it over. What I do is a tiny, I couldn't have bought the smallest ones for you to film. I had the bigger ones so you could see it better. But I'm just going to do a little stitch in the corner just to secure it there. And then again I'm going to move along to the next side, turn that over. Can you see this okay? I'm just going to put a stitch in there. I'm starting to get the sides formed for the shape. Okay. I'm going to go along to the next side. It's not going to be very easy to demonstrate because they're so tiny, I'm sorry, they're not bigger. I'm just finger pressing as I go, just to help hold the shape. It's terribly fiddly, the small ones. I need some smaller fingers. So each corner just has a tiny stitch in it just to anchor it. I'm just folding as I go, you probably can't see exactly what I'm doing. But the nice thing about the paper piecing, especially with sort of in the era of Jane Austen, what I've read about her quilt, is that they didn't really have much fabric and they didn't have much thread. It was, you know, something that was very scarce, especially the pretty ones. So they used to collect it from all sorts of places, especially like old shops that were dressmaking and so on. Because you just need scraps basically. So I've got a bigger piece here, okay, I'm going to use. And I'll get some different thread. So this is a bigger shape, so I want to use some stronger thread for this. Okay. Got the boring bit of filming again. So at the moment we've just abandoned the tiny hexagon.
Oh yes, we can see that. She's Hungarian. That's interesting.
Okay, so this is a bigger piece. This is an exact piece of diamond, the size that Jane Austen used in her quilt. So this is proper traditional English paper piecing. So I've just pinned the paper onto the back of the fabric. I'm going to cut a seam, just a rough seam around the shape. Okay, right then, so the first side I'm just going to fold over and I'm going to finger press it until I reach one of the corners. Then I turn again and I'm going to finger press along the edge as well. Okay, so I take my thread that's got a little knot in the end and I just do a tiny stitch in between both of the fabrics so it holds them together. I pull that through and go over and do another stitch. I'm going to work all the way to the end. Points are always a bit tricky to get right, so you just turn over. Okay, and I'm just going to jump straight to the end and do another stitch right on that corner piece. Okay, and I'm going to finger press this side, so I go all the way to the next corner, turn the fabric over and stitch those two pieces together right on that corner there. And I'm going to go all the way to the last corner, turn it. Okay, nearly there. Okay, so that's the finished shape. Okay. So what you would have is lots and lots of these, and then if I had another one this shape, I would just join the sides and stitch it, over stitch it from behind. And what you'll end up with is these bits you won't see because they're on the back. You could cut them down a little bit so they're not quite so big. It's just the folded fabric. Take my pin out and you can see the paper's in there. So that's paper piecing, so it's how you form the shape around the paper. And then you can leave, a lot of them left the papers in. So when you find old quilts nowadays, you often find really interesting bits of paper in. Like they used to use letters, envelopes, anything, because again, paper was scarce. So yeah, so that's the Jane Austen quilt size, and the ones I'm working on at the minute are that size, so they're just totally different. Okay, but this isn't for a quilt, as I'd be there for years. This is to sew onto something. Show you the paper piecing on the end. It's just another version of that.
The Jane Austen Festival is a charming and immersive celebration of the life, works, and world of the famous English author Jane Austen. It takes place every September in the beautiful Georgian city of Bath, England, where Austen herself once lived. The festival lasts for 10 days and attracts thousands of visitors from all over the world who come to honor Austen's legacy and step back in time to the elegance of the Regency era. Bath is the perfect location for the festival. Jane Austen lived in the city from 1801 to 1806, and it features prominently in two of her novels, Northanger Abbey and Persuasion. Many of Bath's architectural landmarks remain unchanged from Austen's time, providing the perfect historical backdrop. The cobbled streets, grand crescents, and stately buildings help transport visitors to the early 19th century. One of the most iconic events of the festival is the Grand Regency costumed promenade, where hundreds of people dressed in full Regency attire parade through the streets of Bath. The sight of women in empire waist gowns and men in tailcoats, top hats, and cravats is both impressive and delightful. This parade holds the world record for the largest gathering of people in Regency costume. The festival features a wide range of activities and events. Attendees can enjoy Regency dance workshops, theatrical performances, concerts, literary talks, and readings from Austen's novels. There are also etiquette classes, writing workshops, and fashion exhibitions that explore the customs, dress, and society of Austen's time. These events are designed to both entertain and educate, giving visitors a deeper appreciation for the period in which Austen lived and wrote. Another highlight of the festival is the series of costumed balls held in grand venues such as the Assembly Rooms, where Austen herself once danced. These events give guests the chance to experience the social life of the Regency era, complete with live music, candlelight, and period dancing. For many attendees, dancing in the same rooms Jane Austen once did is a dream come true. Fans can also take part in guided walking tours around the city, exploring the places where Austen lived, visited, and set scenes in her novels. These tours often include stops at the Jane Austen Centre, a museum dedicated to her life and work. The Jane Austen Festival is not only a celebration of a beloved author but also a window into history. It brings people together through a shared love of literature, costume, and culture. Whether you are a lifelong Jane Austen fan or simply curious about the past, the festival offers a unique and unforgettable experience. For many, attending the Jane Austen Festival in Bath is like stepping into the pages of a novel, full of elegance, wit, and charm, just like Jane Austen herself.
As we conclude our journey through the elegance of Regency-era fashion, we are reminded that these dresses were more than just clothing, they were symbols of beauty, status, and societal change. From flowing day gowns to dazzling evening attire, Regency fashion captured the essence of an era defined by grace and refinement. Though times have changed, the timeless elegance of these designs continues to inspire fashion, literature, and film. Each gown tells a story of the past, preserving the artistry and culture of the early 19th century. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of history and style. Until next time, keep discovering the past. This is Time Stream, see you next time.